Yeah, so we'll record.
Okay. I have to tell it it's okay. There we go.
Okay.
All right. I don't remember my particular question from last month. But let's give it a little bit of time and maybe to come back to me. I think probably it had to do with making the measurements, submitting the measurements, and how does that work?
For your night sky, your sky quality measurements?
Yeah, and we've got two different type meters. Some of them are, two of them are the data logging that you have to change the batteries on, and the rest of them are all Ethernet.
Okay.
So they're run to a computer, and the people that are doing it, like at Fossil Rim and Dinosaur Valley State Park, they're like, you know, if we're not here, nobody's going to tell anybody that we'll remember to change batteries and download it.
Mhm.
So if the computer's sitting in front of them every day, then, you know, that will be a good reminder. And Fossil Rims is at a remote location. It's kind of hard to get to.
So Russ, help my memory. Are you, yes, help. Are you doing, are you, obviously you've got the park. Are you doing multiple types of places?
Yes. Doing Fossil Rim Wildlife Center, Dinosaur Valley State Park, City of Glen Rose.
Okay.
And Chalk Mountain Wildlife Management Association.
Okay, so obviously the city is, you'd be a community place, you'd be getting that designation. And in the community, it's not as strict, shall I say, as far as what the sky readings are. So are the ones in the community, how many places in the community are y'all taking? Are you taking readings?
Let me count.
So
5.
at least, okay, excellent. So with that, with the community, which is a lot easier than the parks, that's why I'm starting with the community.
Okay, now I counted the parks in as the community.
Oh, okay. Because so are y'all doing multiple applications?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, so you'll get
Gordon's shaking his head, yes.
Yes, you'll get the city designated and then you'll get each park designated.
Right.
Okay, so within the city, the readings that you do there, you know, if you did it 4 times a year and just kept a spreadsheet or table of that information over a period of time, that would work fine. And for the community, it doesn't have to be any particular reading. It's a matter of, as the community grows through the years, they want you to show that you're keeping light pollution down as much as possible with the population growth. So for all of your other places, are they all parks or parks and reserves?
Chalk Mountain Wildlife Management Association, I think it's going to have to be a reserve. We don't meet the minimum acreage of a reserve.
Actually, I think you do. but just
Okay.
barely. Because I went out to the Texas Parks and Wildlife website and looked at the big triangle. So every parcel of land in that triangle is actually eligible, I guess. And
Okay.
I didn't, it looks like it's going to be real close to being a legitimate
Okay.
for preserve.
Well, Parks and Wildlife arbitrarily drew that triangle,
Mhm.
and it was several biologists ago that did that. And I've said y'all left out some stuff, and they said, well, send it to us and we'll add it, and they haven't. So,
Okay.
I don't think it's a big deal getting it added. I think it's just a matter of getting their attention.
Yeah.
Okay, so to address your question about the sky quality meter readings, the city's your easy part. So I answered that one, and I'm gonna let Gordon answer any question you have on the parks and reserves, because that's his specialty with the
Right.
sky quality.
Okay. Right. For the city, we have one monitor.
Okay,
You
And
get
I
that
think-
deployed at the water tank?
At the water tank, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't have it up yet. I'm waiting on a hood for that guard light that's
Okay.
trespassing.
Yeah.
And it should be here any day. And I had actually loaned it to a guy about 10 years ago, and he needs to bring it back. So,
Okay.
okay. And actually, within the city, it would be good to have more than one location that they keep. And like I said, for the city, if you do it every quarter would be great.
okay. But you think we need 2 monitors in the city?
I mean, somebody can go out with a handheld device, or even with, as long as you document what it is, you could go out and get the information off of the web app for Globe at Night, and somebody go out with their phone and take some readings. It's not as it doesn't have to be as precise as in a park or reserve.
Yeah.
Okay.
They just
Yeah.
want to see long-term trends. I know that's what you've been doing at Dripping Springs for
Right.
quite some time.
Yeah, we picked, I can't remember how many spots, but it was like 5 different spots around the city. And just did handheld readings. And those handheld readings could be with an app on your phone.
And I have one of those. Yeah.
Yeah, as long as you document, this is what it was taken with. Whether you did it with the app on the phone, so that it's just consistent, that they can have something to compare it with. So the city, the relatively easy thing, but do have several places within the city.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'll just reiterate that you need to, in your application, as you report your data or before you report your data, you need to be really clear as to what device you're using. And what the setup is. Don't assume that they know anything about your hardware or program. Be sure and spell it out.
Right.
SQM or SQML, and
Right. If you're using a handheld, because if you're using something, a data logging one, all that's recorded internally. And
Right.
so,
Yeah.
Right. Okay, Jane wanted to know, when did the meeting officially start? Because it is 5:04. We started about 5 minutes till, because Russ is waiting to go back into his doctor's office, and we wanted to get his questions answered. So we will get him
No,
answered.
I've already seen the doc.
Oh, you just got stuck. Okay, you got stuck there at the doctor's office because he was
Yeah.
listening. Okay, I misunderstood. At any rate, we've got your questions answered. Do you need any more information on the sky quality meter for your parks? I think Gordon's working with you, so he's an expert.
Yeah, they're already set up on both parks. And
Right.
And then we have 2 additional ones out in the county for the reserve. And I don't know if that's enough or not, but it's all we've got right now. To cover a full reserve, that's, how many acres is that? It's special.
I don't have it open. I'll have to go open it and see.
I think it's in square kilometers on the-
Yeah, they converted it into acres, I think, in there somewhere. Yeah. Let me go find it.
Okay, I'll
We've
let
got,
you look that up.
I'll look at
and,
it.
we've got one on the far east side of the county and one on the far west side of the county. And the county's pretty narrow north to south.
Yeah. Okay, we've got some other people that have joined us. Glad you're here. And while Gordon was going to look up some more things for Russ, but he can
I'm closing in on it.
send that to him. Paula says she has a question about the light plan. So Paula, why don't you take yourself off mute and ask us.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, great. So we have been monitoring our light with the Untitled light plan since 2019. So we have good data. We qualify then, we qualify now. So I'm in the park category.
Okay, that helps. We need to know, yeah, which.
Yes, thank you. It dawned on me. So, and we take 5 different readings over 5 different areas. We're 940 acres, blah, blah. But we qualify now to meet the guidelines for the minimum, or we exceed the minimum. So my question to you is, what should my light plan be about? I mean, is it just, should I really scrutinize and try to find areas of improvement? Or if we're already there, what do I need to do?
Just for a park, a reserve, or community?
A park.
Bill, you want to answer that?
Well, I'm not sure that I can. I mean, the SQM readings are just one of the criteria that you have to meet in the guidelines. I'd have to read again the other criteria, but you'll have to forgive me. I'm a little bit burned out right now on this reserve application that we've been putting together.
Okay. So I think
if somebody else can answer it readily, please do.
Paula,
I guess, go ahead.
I'm presume, I mean, to me, the sky quality meter readings are separate from your lighting plan.
Yeah.
And it sounds like you're asking about the lighting plan that they want you to put together for a park.
Yes.
Okay.
And I thought the purpose of that was for everything I've read. It seems like, well, we're here and these are extra things we're going to do to either stay there or become extra, really get with where we need to be. So I'm not really understanding what the light plan is. And I haven't read anything that tells me, because everything I have read and examples of other applications are all plans to make changes, and they don't really seem to apply to us. Like, when it was a city, it's, oh, well, we've got all of the businesses, they're going to change their lighting or turn their lights off at a certain time, but none of that applies to us. And so I'm not really sure what the lighting plan could be for me.
Right. The lighting plan for a park is how do you, if you need to change the lighting in the future, what are your written rules? You're going to put down, you and the park, the park will agree, this is what we're going to do if we put in any more lights, or if we have to change any of the ones that are forthcoming. We are going to only put in lights that are below a certain Kelvin rating, we are gonna put in lights that are only, controlled with motion activated, switches, or, whatever the park will agree of, these are the rules.
Okay. So I need to
Or-
create some rules is basically what I'm hearing you saying.
Yeah, you
Okay.
need to say, if
Okay.
we put in another, something happens and we need to replace a light or put in a new light, here are the rules that we're gonna follow. That's
gotcha.
what the lighting management plan is. I think of it as the equivalent of an ordinance for a community, where a community has, an ordinance that they pass. The park basically writes their own rules, writes their own ordinance,
Gotcha.
says these are the rules that we will follow when we are putting in any new lights or changing any lights that are existing.
Okay. Thank you. That helps me enormously. Thank you. I was struggling with that.
Okay, cool.
Paula, are you state park?
No, sir, we're not. We're
Okay.
I'm from Canyon of the Eagles. We're an LCRA park, but we have a contract with them, a long-term contract, and so they let us do whatever we're going to do. And of our 940 acres, there's just a small amount where our guests stay. So we already have like next to no light. I know that I can't make it to my car in the parking lot without using my cell phone.
Yeah,
It's that dark.
we all have to use
Good.
flashlights now. I would say, I don't know, I haven't been up there in a while, but last time I was up there, the only light that was a problem was from the drink machines at night.
Oh, interesting. Oh,
Yeah.
Well, it's covered. So and that was one of the things that we talked about, is that any lights have a cover over them.
Yeah,
So they're
and what a
lined
lot of
up.
what a lot of parks have done is to basically, like if it's in a little covered area that has
Mhm,
maybe 3 sides on it, they've
mhm.
they've put they've put a wall on that 4th side with, doors, or
Okay.
just open entries, but it where the doors, where that wall was in front of the light coming off of those machines.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because when you're walking around and you're dark adapted and that light
Uh-huh.
from the machines hits you,
Yeah.
it
The
totally
Pepsi-
messes up your night adaptation.
The Pepsi machines are worse because it's a lot of blue light. The blue, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Worse than
we
Coke.
should maybe we should think about moving it indoors. Maybe that's the thing. We have a space for that. So yeah, that's a
Yeah.
good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'd recommend, like, for any of the cabins, if you have cabins there, just do shielded fixtures and 500
do.
lumen bug lights in them, and that's a $50 fix to $1,000 problem.
What did you
So.
say? 500 lumen what?
Bug lights, they're 2000 Kelvin. They are yellow, the amber bug lights we all used to
yeah.
use in the 50s and 60s that people have kind of gotten away from. They all like all this bright white light at their front door, and then now they wonder why their houses get full of bugs in the summer when they open a
I
door.
can tell you it doesn't work. I'm sorry
Yeah.
to report that doesn't work. I have it. I have a downward face, and my front door, and I'm 3 miles from the resort. So I have a downward facing light. I put a yellow bulb in it, and then I put a cover on top of it. And I am
Still have a few
and I
bugs.
tell
Yeah.
people, I tell people, I said, once you're in my house and sun sets, you don't go outside, because I don't want
Yeah.
all those bugs in my house.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so that's helpful. Yeah, the only area of concern I have is our front gate. It still doesn't mess with our overall readings. And that is actually a function of LCRA. And I've already asked, and they will not change it. So if we still make the 940 acre, overall lighting plan that more than exceeds what our minimums, and they won't change that, I don't know what else, I don't know what I could do. They're going to be giving me a letter of support, but they will not change the lighting.
Well, wait a minute. So they have chosen the lighting for the front gate.
yeah, it's been there for, I guess, for a long time.
Okay. I mean, I know LCRA used to buy shields from me when I used to sell them. So it's interesting that they were some locations were willing to have shielded light. And, but it sounds like they're not willing there.
I said to them, I said, is there any modifications you're willing to consider? And they said, no, we will not spend a single dime. We'll support you against it, but we won't spend a dime to do it. And we don't have the right to change their lighting.
What if you volunteer to pay for it? Say, here, how about this light? This will be plenty of illumination and we'll pay for it.
Yeah, that's it. But I don't think I agree with you that that's what I'm at. And there's a nearby neighbor who we've already approached, and she's agreed to let us change her light. But I don't think they're going to. So yeah, but it doesn't affect our overall sky quality management. It doesn't. So if I have to bend on that, then that's what I'm going to have to do. That's not something that I can change if I can't.
Okay.
Oh, something I've found that works very well is don't ask permission, ask forgiveness if they ever catch you.
We use that phrase a lot to resort.
Yeah.
And silence is consent. That's the other thing we say.
Yeah.
Try.
So if somebody doesn't respond to an email, that means they must agree. So just go ahead and do it. Yeah.
There's, if I may, there is one provision in the lighting management plan criteria that I call it a warranting provision. It's like, you know, you have to describe how you will decide when light will be used and what amount light will be used, where, and so on. It's a clause that kind of, to me, is a little muddled. I'm not sure exactly what they expect you to say. And there's, I guess they're looking for some kind of authoritative body, some kind of administrative policy that says, we will decide when and where and under what circumstances, how bright, for how long lighting is used. Again, I call it a warranting clause.
Okay.
And
Thank you.
I have a sample warranting document that I need to get out on the website, where, you know, what it's saying is when you have this type of circumstance, for instance, if it was, you know, you have intersection of this type of road, this level of road, then you will have a light there.
Okay.
Or if you have, you know,
We just don't have any of
pedestrians.
that. Yeah, we
I'm
just
sorry.
don't have any. We
Right.
just don't have any of that. We just don't provide lighting other than that front gate. There is no lighting. I mean, at night, if someone drives in to check in at night, it's their headlights. That's how they can see.
Yeah.
So,
And, you know, and maybe you say you'll have, you know, reflective lighting, you know, passive reflective lighting in these circumstances, and that's it. And that's your
Yeah.
warranting.
What kind of lighting do you have down at the gate, may I ask?
it's just a big old pole, and it's a light that shines on the flag.
Oh,
The American, yeah.
so it shines upward?
Kind of horizontally, but it's up high enough that it,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, a picture of it might help sometime. Okay.
Thank
Do
you.
we?
Everybody.
Yeah, you're welcome. Jane or Jeff, do either of you have a question this evening? You've got lots of help here. You're both muted. You can either unmute or type a question in the chat.
I lost my visuals, by the way, so I'm just listening. This is Paula.
Okay.
Jade and I were just chatting back and forth on a couple of things. We finally got somebody to help us, which is good. We've got some questions on various things. There was one question about some of the digital signs. Some of our ordinances cover some of the restrictions that we see in the guidelines. Some of our ordinances that got put in place a couple of years ago don't cover some of the restrictions either for signs or for lights, like, 3000 K is covered with street lights, but no other exterior lights in our ordinances. So how strict do the ordinances need to be in order to get a provisional status? Because, our government's willing to change, and we've got to go through and, show the steps of what it takes to bring ourselves into compliance. But some of the grandfathering that needs to take place on some of these ordinances could be another 3 or 5 years before we're fully in compliance. We're just wondering how strict some of the provisional status requirements are.
It's my understanding, and what they've done in the past is to, if you have an ordinance that you need to update the ordinance. And
Right.
if you are allowing some grandfathering, then I believe if you say everything has to be brought into compliance within 5 years, then you're covered.
Okay, but the ordinance has to be in place before we put in our application?
I would, because that's the toughest thing in a city, I think, is to get that political buy-in and get the ordinance passed.
Gotcha.
And get all of the points that are required into that ordinance.
Yeah, some of the hesitancy we've got is, boy, they got like 80% there with the current ordinances 3 years ago, and there's only 2 years left in the grandfathering. And we don't really want to restart that clock by opening it up. We know we need to. There's got to be a way to just make the additive parts have a 5-year clock.
Yeah. You can do that in your ordinance, and you can say, you can specifically say, okay, anything, the grandfathering that was established 3 years ago will be completed in 2 years, but any lights that,
yeah, we can call out the additions separately. Yeah, I get that.
You could say anything new after this goes in has 5 years.
Okay. Well, that answers that question. So.
Whoa. Okay.
This is Paula again. May I ask another question?
Sure. Shall we finish with Lago Vista? See if we got everything there with Jane and Jeff?
Jane, did you have any other questions?
I did, only because I don't want to give anybody another 5 years.
Yeah, but we can, I think we can mitigate that one. The current ones that are in place, those are going to have 2 years left, and they're okay. At least it's, lumens per acre limits and all of that, and full cutoff fixtures. We've got all that.
Right.
It's just we're not 100% when you go through that checklist.
Right. So anything that was already in place in the ordinance prior to that they only have 2 more years to complete that grandfathering before they have to be compliant with the whatever year ordinance. And then these, new stipulations, you can specifically say people have 5 years to, anything new has to match the ordinance, and anything old that doesn't match the new pieces has 5 years.
Okay. I've got you there. Jeff says we already have things about digital signs, because we have a couple that we've had complaints about.
Well,
one is at the high school and one is at the Catholic Church.
yeah,
Those
I don't know
are
that
hard people to take on. And I'm trying to remember our ordinances. Like,
I think our ordinances only apply to inwardly lit signs. I don't know where digital signs fall in that category.
Digital signs are not inwardly lit. I mean, they're
Right.
visible for miles.
Digital are controlled in general, are controlled specifically, you know, with other language, and most old ordinances did not have that in there.
Who's a good example to draft from?
Yes,
The
please.
Texas model outdoor lighting ordinance that's on the website,
Okay. The IDA
That's on
website or
the-
the Texas?
the IDA website, which is
Okay.
also, yeah, the IDA Texas website.
Gotcha.
We have a digital sign at the school administration building. And it started off being great. And then at night, it was really, really bright. And then it was still bright in the daytime. And I called them, and what I found out was the students are rotated through there every year, and they're the ones that put the information on there and set up the sign going and all that. And they don't know that there's a nighttime mode that needs to be activated. So when that's activated, it's very pleasant at night. When it's not, it blinds you.
Yeah.
So you
What
might
is
check on that.
What is the night mode? Is there a formula for that?
It's probably in the programming for the lettering that goes across.
Well,
Yeah.
I understand that, Jeff, but you know, what is the night mode? What do they turn it down to? Is it lumens? Is it kelvins? What?
It's probably
Lumens.
something that's specific to the sign manufacturer itself.
Right, exactly.
So you would have to look it up based on sign manufacturer. You know, something to consider is that if you have digital signage that is color illuminated lettering, you can always try to opt for a red light instead of a white or blue or a yellow, something that's tremendously bright. A red would be a substantial improvement and would still be visible to drivers at night.
Right.
Well, that's helpful. Thank you.
Mhm.
And
Just
the
like-
information about the specifics of what it should be is in that model lighting ordinance. And, you know, it's what other cities have done, have said, it is the responsibility of the sign owner to show us that they are following the ordinance.
The only trouble with that can be is that the settings for the sign are often set at installation by the manufacturer or the vendor. And it's not always that user friendly for the person operating the sign or the group operating the sign to figure out how to make those changes. I just throw that out. We've run into that before.
Yeah. So they may have to call back and get them to adjust it.
Yeah.
Works for me. Thank you.
Okay. Questions from somebody who hasn't asked?
Yes, this is Bill.
Hi,
Hello, the
Bill.
other Bill.
The other bill?
Yeah, so I want to get out of the light fixture and lighted signs and all that weeds and really go up several levels here and talk about process, because we're really I'm really brand new at this and have never done anything using the process that it takes to get a dark sky place designated. So it's all new to me. Well, so here's where we are. The Brazos Bend State Park, which is south of Houston, is got an observatory on it, the George Observatory, who has a director, Tracy Knaus, who's the current director of the observatory. And it turns out it's somebody I've known somewhat for over probably the last 15, 20 years or something. And it turns out that Tracy and her park ranger folks have thought about this before I even contacted them. And so we're kind of on the same page on getting something going. So in terms of the first things to do items, if you look at this sheet, which I'm sure you're seriously familiar with, it says step one, the applicant reviews, the applicant reviews eligibility with IDA staff. First question is, who is the applicant? Is the applicant me, or is it Tracy, or is it somebody else?
could be either one of you.
Or even an entity that's, applying, particular park. Doesn't have to be an individual.
Right. So the applicant can be just listed as the park. So you've got yourself and, the people at the park apparently have some, interest in this. Perhaps y'all, have a meeting and go over the, have everybody read the requirements. Y'all are looking at an urban dark
Yeah.
sky park, right?
That's
Yeah,
right.
have everybody, read that first and then sit down and talk about, and, there's a checklist for that too. The picture you brought up is just a really high level overview.
Mhm.
And where I know it says to review certification process, indicate interest in program, and that's a fine thing to do. I would think that you would want to gather a little bit more information, look at the application, see what y'all are going to have to do, and start putting together a plan, and then tell IDA you're working on this.
I'd like to.
So is there a document that says the applicant review certification process indicates interest in the program? And what is the normal way in which they indicate interest?
Send them an email.
Well, there's a form. There's actually a form on the site that you fill out.
It's an online
Yeah.
form, yeah.
There's an online form that you fill out that's an intent to apply.
Okay.
Bill, if you wouldn't mind dropping your email in the chat, one of the groups I can put you in contact with are the Interpretive Rangers at McKinney Falls State Park.
Okay.
They have recently submitted their application and will most likely be the first recognized urban night sky place in Texas.
Yeah. So where we
provide
are
you
right
some-
now is that Tracy, and the park rangers were doing something, and I don't know what. And as Cindy says, we need to get together and figure all that out, where we are and who's doing what when. So roles and responsibilities are not at all defined yet in terms of getting all these things done. And so what I'm trying to figure out is what kind of roles and responsibilities people have, and what has been the typical process for at least initiating this this much longer process to get the urban dark sky place designation.
Yeah, and
Definitely.
that has varied a lot.
For a second.
And
Hello? Can you guys hear me?
hey, Amber, yes.
Hey,
Also tell Bill that
wanted
has
to,
varied a lot as far as roles and responsibilities.
Say
And
that again.
it varies, so that you and the team at at the park need to sit down and figure out who is willing to do what part and how much they can do and how much they want to ask you to do, that type of thing.
Yeah, and I don't mind, sort of driving the effort if that's the way it turns out, but I don't want to do something that's going to what's the right thing to say? Upset the people at the park and make them think that they're not participating in a proper way.
Right. So that's why, to me, y'all need to sit down and talk about it and get comfortable and see what they want. They obviously want, are interested in doing this. So you could kind of feel them out and see
Yeah.
how much responsibility they would like for you to take on there.
Yeah. I think what I'll do based on what you just said is contact Tracy and ask her if she can set up a meeting sometime that I can attend down at the observatory, probably, and sort of talk about how we want to proceed on this.
Yeah, put together a plan of action.
Yeah.
This isn't very convenient at the moment, but the IDA website is down right now. But if you go to their Dark Sky Places page that lists the different categories, at the very bottom, there's a start the process link. And there is a form to fill out that formally indicates that you intend to pursue a designation.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I haven't seen that. That's good.
Yeah. That's kind of fun. I'm in the IDA. Maybe it's gone down in the last 15 minutes, but I went into the
It's been
site.
up and down this afternoon.
Yeah, I went into the site to get the guidelines for Russ.
If you try and reload the page, you may find it down. I don't know.
Yeah, I think I'll do that.
Yeah.
Don't lose that.
Yeah.
time.
Don't do that then.
Yeah. But yeah, once, you know, work on meeting with the group and talk about how they want to approach it and tell them, you know, what you're willing to do, and y'all work out that. And then when you're ready, go to the IDA site and fill out that form for them.
Okay, well, that sounds pretty easy to comply with step one of the initial inquiry phase. Not much to that.
I
Okay.
think Amber had something she wanted to say.
Thank you. I did. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Hey, I just wanted to introduce myself. I'm a park ranger at Big Bend Ranch State Park, and I got worked to get our park designated as a dark sky park, and as well as Black Gap Wildlife Management Area. And so I've got some experience with this. And if you would like to reach out to me, I can I'll put my email address in the chat, but I just wanted to chime in and say everything that everybody else said, but also making sure that you just connect with I think the two most important people that you have a good program with and a good plan with is your superintendent and any interpreters that are going to be working with the designation. So just like Cindy and I think Bill said, making sure that you guys are all on the same page, but definitely make sure that they're on board, because it's not just about getting the designation, it's about maintaining it. And the maintenance of it's probably going to fall in part on some of the staff, whether it's the interpreter or some other ranger or the superintendent. So that's an important step to make sure that everybody understands the commitment level to it. But like I said, I can put my email address in.
Okay,
and
that'd be helpful.
And yeah, I can definitely help with that process if you need.
Okay, thanks. Mine is already in the my email address already in the chat list. But
Okay,
if you could do
it's
yours, that would be good too.
Okay, yeah, and it's in my keyboard's not working right now. I'm having a weird glitch, but
And Bill, you should have Amber's email from any of the emails that are going to the IDA Texas board. She's on.
Yeah, I was just going to say that exact same thing. So feel free to reach out that way, and I can help.
So what we can do this the old-fashioned way, where you could just tell me what your email address is.
Okay. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
It's Amber, AMBER, dot Harrison, HARRISON, at TPWD.
TPWD.
Dot Texas spelled out.
Texas.
.gov.
AS.gov. GOV.
TEXAS. Yeah. And yeah, that's my work email. So if it's helping with the park, that's perfectly legit to use. Also, oh, thank you, whoever just put that in there.
That was, yeah.
I didn't see that. And then like Cindy said, my Gmail account as well. So you've got that in the emails. It's bigbendarksky@gmail.com.
You want me to put that out there too?
Sure, yeah, go ahead. Thank
Go
you.
ahead. As long, you've already said it, I might as well. Those are animals.
Yeah, beautiful, thank you.
You're welcome.
That is all I have. Thanks, Don, for helping me out there.
Okay, thank you, everybody. Got it captured here.
Any other questions today?
Cindy, I'd like a clarification. When we first started out tonight, we were talking about the city being a dark sky community, but I think after we went through this, we're talking about 2 dark sky parks, a reserve, and the city is going to be what?
Community,
Place?
a community,
A community.
a dark sky community.
Okay. I didn't think I saw community listed.
Yep, it's in there.
Mhm.
Okay.
It's listed. Yep. Yep. Yep.
All
Yep,
right. Now,
it's-
do
it's
they
a-
have lighting guidelines that they have to meet before the?
Oh, he froze up.
Yeah, no, they just have, the city just has to pass the ordinance with certain specifications.
Mhm. Yeah, there's no minimum. I mean, you could be as overlit as Las Vegas in theory, I guess, and still qualify as a dark sky community as long as you have a good ordinance in place.
Shh, don't tell the cities that.
Well, a good ordinance in place will help them tone down that light over a period of
Right.
time.
Right. Because you can't ever get a city down to like 20.2 magnitudes per square arc second. That's just not feasible. And so every city is different. So I can see why you just can't set a minimum or maximum amount of light for a city. And like where in the city, you know, downtown is going to be brighter than the suburbs, and the suburbs is going to be brighter than parks out on the perimeter.
I think there are provisions for different zones in a community, am I right? That you can,
Yeah, that's right, Bill.
well, that's what I recall, is that you can define different zones that meet different criteria for.
I think for the urban what do they call it? Urban
Night sky place.
night sky place. Yeah. The requirement for dark skies is essentially ignored because it's not going to be dark, and what you're really doing is trying to promote dark skies without having dark skies.
Right.
Yeah,
But you
put up good lighting and you educate.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
but you do have to
And
be
there's a lot
within-
of opportunity for that at the Brazos Bend thing, because up until COVID came along, we did I participated a little bit. The Astronomy Day event was at the George Observatory, and so they had a lot of opportunity for contact with the public.
I do have, oh,
Well, go ahead.
with regards to Brazos Bend, one thing about that is that they do, I believe the requirement is that you do have to be 100% compliant with your lighting management plan. So one thing as you're going into this discovery phase with your superintendent and whoever else is going to be helping, whoever else on staff from the park is going to help you manage this. I would definitely take a site walkthrough and evaluate the scope of any changes that you would need to do for feasibility, because if you have a lot of changes you have to make in the state park system, getting those lighting changes may take some time. So I think that's going to be a really critical first step before you guys get in too much, is evaluating that for feasibility and also just the scope of work for that, because of that 100% compliance thing. So just throwing that out there.
Yeah, there's a lot of things to happen between now and the time something really happens. But the park has had the observatory now for quite many years. And so my guess is that there's been a lot of effort made to keep the observatory as functional as it can be given its location. But I don't know. I'm just assuming some things, and all that's gonna be discovered when we discover it and we see where we are.
It's also one of the few places in the state, other than the 7 counties around McDonald, where the local county commissioners can regulate outdoor lighting. But yeah, if you look at and when you're looking at that lighting, what you're going to be doing is starting your inventory of lighting and assessment of those lights.
Sure.
And I highly recommend the last couple of lessons and worksheets on the online learning portion of the IDA Texas website that teaches you how to do and take an inventory and do the assessment, and has spreadsheets that are built for that.
Yeah, I've seen that. Yep.
Something else I mentioned earlier in the chat, but I'll say it again. It's never too early to start doing sky quality meter readings, especially if you have park lighting that is going to be changed over time. Taking those meter readings now to establish a baseline will be tremendously beneficial to show improvement as you are in the process of this application procedure and as lighting is improved within the park or the community.
Agreed, definitely.
That's a really good point, because that stuff's not required in the application like it is for Dark Sky Park, but that is going to definitely be part of your messaging moving forward. So if you can illustrate the difference in sky quality from before and after, that'll be really, really powerful moving forward and keeping the thing going. So that's a really good point.
Yeah. I personally have a non-recording sky quality meter, but I understand there's going to be a process, that there's a process around gathering this data for the sake of IDA, and I have to learn what that process is and execute on that process. And
correct me if I'm wrong, Gordon, because I know you do so much of this, but I believe with the urban dark sky park that you could even take readings, with the Globe at Night app and record that. And because it doesn't have to be as
it's just like a community. You're not responsible for the night.
Be as stringent as a regular park.
You're not responsible for other people's light pollution. You're only responsible for your light pollution. Or lack thereof. But I would recommend getting is Brazos Bend State Park within 50 kilometers of a built up area of a city more than I don't know where it is on the face of the earth.
It's right by Houston.
Yeah, just go to Google Maps and go Brazos Bend State Park, and you'll see it. It's however many years ago when it was first set up, it was much darker there than it is now. But what happened is that 288 highway goes south from Houston and basically south from the Med Center, and a lot of Med Center folks live down that way, down by Rocheron and all that. So it's gotten much worse.
That's Fort Bend County, am I correct? Or
don't get me lying. I'm not sure which county it's in.
I think it's Fort Bend, but they do.
Could be.
I believe they still have an outdoor lighting ordinance in Fort Bend County, or at least the county that George Observatory is in, as Cindy was alluding to earlier, that the state government allowed counties near or within so many miles of major astronomical observatories or telescopes of certain sizes, I forget what the language is, to enact outdoor lighting ordinances.
And they did.
25 years ago, I managed to burn a hole in Judge Wiley's carpet, but that's another story.
Oh my gosh.
I was doing a demonstration. What's that smell?
A demonstration of how to burn a hole in a carpet.
Well, it was a floodlight demonstration. I
Oh,
plugged the
I
floodlight
see.
in and it was aimed down, and it went right down through the carpet to the concrete. So
Those old ones.
Judge Wiley was
wouldn't they?
very kind about it.
That's great, Bill.
Thank you. I've learned what not to do when I plug in my floodlight.
Yeah, well, there's excitement to come. We'll see.
Okay. Terry, I think you're the only one who hasn't asked a question. You're fine just to listen, but if you'd like to do that now, we've got about 9 minutes before 6 o'clock, and I know Gordon and some others may have to jump off then. You're muted if you want to unmute. Okay, maybe there's no question there.
Thank you all very much. I look forward to getting moving on this thing and get it done someday.
I'm excited that you're working with them.
Yeah, I'm excited to do it too, but because I've been down there many times and done star parties and things, so it'll be fun.
Cindy, I got kicked off for exceeding the 40-minute time limit a while ago,
Oh,
and didn't hear if anybody answered me or not about the city not having to meet any light pollution levels to be designated. Is that correct?
That's
But-
correct.
that is correct. You're not responsible. You
But
know,
we still have to do readings.
But it is highly encouraged that
Yeah.
they do.
Yes.
right. Yeah. And I find it's just easier to use a data logging or a computer logging dark sky meter. So you don't have to remember every quarter to find a clear moonless night to go out and take readings.
Yeah.
I'm lazy.
That would be no fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you do have the option if you don't want to put, have the expense of having that. Somebody can go out like we said in a community or urban dark sky park with just the, an app. As long as you document, this is how I got that reading. Or you can use the web app for Globe at Night. That's a great thing to use, and it helps you, know when is a moonless night to go out and take it.
That, and you can
Yeah.
use the Globe at Night website that has data stored within it for several
Mhm.
years back to see if any readings have been taken in your area already.
Mhm.
Okay.
And it's also a good way to sort of engage school students and youth in your area to maybe help do the work for you.
Exactly. And
What could be better?
exactly. And level 1 of our online training culminates with doing Globe at Night reading and teaches people how to do that.
Cindy, I have another question for you on a situation that we have currently. We have a 2001 IDA ordinance for the city, which I realize we're going to have to upgrade that. But it's still pretty good. Doesn't cover color temperature. But the problem I was talking about was with streetlights. And these are all owned by Texas New Mexico Power, and they're about $7 or $8 a month per light. And there's a lot of them that are still mercury vapor. None of them are shielded. And Texas New Mexico is not interested in doing anything. They will replace them with LEDs. But the price per month doubles, and you have to pay around a $200 exceeding the end of life fee to get them to change it. And then they won't give you a color temperature below, I think, 3,100.
Well,
Any suggestions?
First, I'd say don't do what's happening all over the hill country with Pedernales Electric. We are in a huge mess with them. They are getting ready to put up lighting that is going to increase our sky glow tremendously. They're putting up LED lights that are 3,000 Kelvin, and they're choosing not to shield them except within dripping springs. And a similar project happened up in another community, and it increased their sky glow by 60%. I mean, I'm just sick about, and so is Ashley at IDA, sick about the misunderstanding that PEC has, where they think they're doing great and it's a miserable situation.
Did they increase the lumens? Are they, was this area not even have lights to begin with?
They are putting up LEDs that are 3,000 Kelvin, and they do not want to
They're not
tell
shielded.
people about shielding.
They're not shielded. Okay.
Right. And LEDs need to be shielded more than the older lights.
Oh yeah.
And they're big time. And
Mhm.
they're just going to cause incredible glare and sky glow because of it. And that sounds like what would happen with y'all, Russ, if they changed to LEDs and put up the lights that they're talking about.
If I may, I'd just like to remind folks that when you are the customer and you are paying for a service or a utility from one of these utilities, that you're in a position to ask for what you want. I mean, it doesn't always fly, but I do know of at least one situation in Presidio where the city did a sidewalk project that was lit by TxDOT, and they requested 2,700 degree Kelvin. TxDOT put in their standard 4,000 degree Kelvin, and the city simply said, we're not going to turn them on until you bring them in 2,700 Kelvin, and they did. So as the customer, you have some rights as far as what type of lighting you want installed. I just
Yeah, and
pushed
they're
it.
not in compliance with the existing ordinance, never have been.
Well,
One of the things that I know that Pedernales is doing, and this could be beneficial in your situation, Russ, is, they're going to be doing a lighting inventory of their territory. And if a community doesn't want a light to retain, they will remove it. So if you do have lighting that is, underneath the jurisdiction of this electric company, and you don't want the lighting to exist anymore, perhaps there's some possible leverage there to either have the light turned off or removed entirely.
Actually, there are a couple of lights that have been turned off at the request of the homeowner and conveyed by the city manager.
Great.
Yeah, which is good.
But
And-
it's only a couple.
Yeah. I mean, bottom line, people want some light at night. We ought to be able to put up lights that don't cause all this light pollution, because it's available now. But I totally agree with what Bill said. If, the customer should be able to drive some of that. There's also a company in Oklahoma that is making lights that are much lower Kelvin, have hardly any blue light in it. I mean, you can go all the way down to amber with no blue, but, and that are, they're building them shielded to start with. So, I mean, that may be one of the things that the community could talk about, that, hey, instead of paying, this amount, let's look at putting up these lights.
I have a neighbor that owns a lighting supply company in Dallas,
Uh-huh.
and it's her and her parents. She's a principal of it, and she has a real bug in her bonnet about light pollution. Really can't stand it. And they have a guy on their payroll that is a lighting remediator or something like that.
Mhm.
And if they get a call from somebody, they send him out, and he'll look and he'll go, yeah, these lights are really nasty, and here's what I recommend for new lights. And so they then order the lights. He has electricians that he uses to install them, and whoever the customer is pays for the lights, and his salary gets paid by a payment from the lighting manufacturer, because this lighting supply company is a manufacturer's representative, so they get a commission.
Right.
And so it's a win-win deal for everybody.
There is something of an analog to this, and that is that electric companies are responsible for electric noise that they create. And by that, I mean RF noise. And let's say that you're operating a receiver at some place and you hear electric noise coming from an electrical pole or the transformer or something else, some wires arcing, then the electric company is obliged to fix that.
Interesting.
Yeah, so wouldn't it be nice if we got to a day where if the lighting was improper, that they would be obliged to fix it? That was the analogy I was going towards.
Well, I had a similar thing happen, and this has been over 20 years ago. And we had just installed fluorescent lighting inside and doing a complete remodel, and it was with electronic ballast instead of the old mechanical ones. And we started having problems with the lights flickering real bad. And so called the electric company, and they came out and they put a meter on the line, and they said, oh, our transformer is arcing and it's putting out RF interference, which is tearing your lights up. We're going to replace your transformer. And they did, and the problem went away.
Yep. Well, I'm going to have to go. It's 6 o'clock here, and
Yes. Terry just
I've got other things.
joined us. I'll hang on, and if anybody else can, for a few minutes to see if Terry has any questions. And we have M. Grossman. I don't know if either of you have any questions before we wrap this up. Go ahead. Yes, Terry.
I have no questions. I was ill prepared for the meeting, but I had another meeting prior to this. So I will download all the information that I should have downloaded prior to the meeting. I will become better informed. But what I have picked up is that we're talking about cities and communities and state parks, county parks, but I'm wondering, as a landowner with 100 acres, we have no lights. When we moved here, we took out all of our lights, and we have just what's here on the porch, and we installed the proper directional down, what am I trying to say? Down lights.
Down lights.
Down lights just on our porch, and in our between our house and our barn, we have no lights. We have a big bowl of headlamps and flashlights by the door. So if you want to go somewhere, you get your headlamp on. And we at our gate, just outside of our home, we have a motion detector,
Right.
so that when you approach the gate to go out from the yard to your car, the light comes on, and it also is pointed down. So here at home, we are very conscious of lighting.
Well,
And
it sounds like you are a fabulous candidate for the Be a Star Award, which any property can earn. And if you go to the, I'll put in a link here.
you know, I as a member of the local Dark Sky Association, I have a Be a Star sign already
Oh, good.
in my yard, and on my gate, I have, what is that on our gate? Member of International Dark Sky Association. So, well, I think we're there.
You're good. Yeah, but this meeting, we're calling the first Wednesday meeting, is for people who are working on International Dark Sky Place applications, and the places can be communities, parks, reserves, urban night sky parks. What am I missing, you guys? Did I get everything? It's all the designations that
Sanctuaries.
IDA can give to larger places,
Okay.
but beyond just one property. And helping people, answer questions for people who are working on those applications. So, yeah. So we're glad you're here.
Thank you.
I feel like there's somebody in Round Mountain. Oh, Round Mountain, there are people working on an ordinance, I think.
Are they really?
Yeah.
When we first moved here about 8 years ago, my husband made an attempt to make a presentation to the city council, and they were not interested at that time. So I hope that someone, as a matter of fact, they were so unreceptive.
I fully understand that. It's, people are, as we all educate more people about it, there's more interest.
Well, we're doing our best.
Keep
In small ways.
going.
We will.
You're on. Okay, any other questions? We're a little bit after 6. And we'll call it an evening again. I wanted to let y'all know I had been out of state because of some things going on, and have not put out an announcement yet, but on the plan right now is on December the 15th to have a little Christmas party. I shouldn't call it Christmas party. I won't call it Christmas party. A little end of year celebration for the IDA Texas chapter. And we hope to have a little music and raise some money and thank Bill Wren again. He's retiring. And so he will be, we'll be thanking him at that meeting too. So, all right. Anybody have anything else? Otherwise, we'll wrap it up. I'm glad everybody was here.
Bill Wren was the first person we heard speak about International Dark Skies.
Oh,
We had
excellent.
that meeting in Marble Falls at the community center.
Uh-huh.
And so he was our introduction.
You're lucky. There you go.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, well, y'all take care. And hopefully see you on December 15th. I'll get an announcement out on that shortly.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Bye, everybody.
Bye.